Battle Panda City.
Battle Panda City, the podcast, the game, the card game, the movie, the podcast.
The movie podcast game show.
The movie podcast game show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Battle Panda City podcast, also known as Runeterrable Radio. I am Blevins. With me, as always, is Saucy Mailman. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, dude?
we like did through almost. I think we did 3 phases of the cold open. We did one. We did our normal pre-show where I'm, sometimes remember to do a sound check, and I did that. And then I'm like, oh, I should press record. Then we did that. Then we went like more off the rails than we usually do. And a lot of the time I'm pretty lazy with editing at the beginning. I'll cut out stuff from the beginning, but I'll usually be like, this is a fine place to start. I needed to cut out more just in case. There was too much that can't go on the podcast. That's for the live viewers only, which usually is on twitch.tv/Runeterrable. Twitch.tv/Runeterrable. But this week it's on my channel because, again, I'm lazy. So we did that. I cut that, and then we did another one, and then I forgot multiple times that we're doing a show. So I eventually just pressed the button, and now we're here.
Yeah, we were having a lively discussion with Chad on just various topics. And it's a very relaxed day because Blevins and I, it's okay, to our credit, it's like 47,000 degrees outside everywhere.
Yes.
Guaranteed. Like if you're listening to this, you know it is. And so we were like, you know what? We're not even going to turn on cameras tonight because we had to turn on lighting, and we're just relaxing and having a very chilled afternoon evening time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very hot. We're also we're in a weird spot in Runeterra right now because patch has been locked in for a little bit because of the seasonal coming up next week as of the record, or this weekend rather. The seasonal Swiss is coming up this weekend. So we've had the patch locked in, nothing new changing. We are on the precipice of spoiler season soon, TM. And we just today got a little like teaser video is what I would call it. We haven't really seen anything like this in Runeterra, which is cool. It's a really cool video. Definitely check it out on the Play Runeterra Twitter. But the weird sort of nebulous spot that we're in right now is that there's a bunch of stuff. There's actually some like new stuff in the video that is not in the game yet. So, like, it would be really cool to, talk about it, look at it, inspect it, speculate on it. But both Saucy and I can't do that.
Yeah,
so
neither of us can talk about things that aren't confirmed by the game.
Yeah.
It was for the video itself, though. Like, it's very interesting because I was streaming. People like, hey, there's a new Bandle City thing, and I watched it. I'm like, it's like an advertisement for Runeterra as a game, not necessarily for Battle Panda City.
Mm-hmm. Well, this also brings up the thing that we've been talking about for a long time, in that I feel like with the release of Bandle City being the 10th region, the confirmed last region that they said explicitly is the last region, and that there's not going to be more regions, and that characters in other regions will be represented in the existing 10. Not another region, so stop suggesting that.
Yes.
Because it's a waste of time.
Well, when Void comes as the 11th region.
When Void comes out as the inevitable 11th region, I mean, they have to. Where's Kai'Sa gonna be? It's like they literally pointed out that exact thing with like, if you like, don't need to get into it. But my point is we now have essentially, in my eyes, the full core of the game is going to be out with the 10th region, right? It's like if Magic came out and the first set was just green and black, and it was and then over the first 2 years of Magic they eventually released white and blue, and red.
Yeah.
And then after that, it would be like after that, it's like you can expand upon that, but there's not going to be more colors. There's not going to be other things. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, I am very excited to see obviously what's going to be in the Bandle City expansion, but also like I'm almost a little more curious about what is the first expansion after like the Bandle City release, right? I mean, I know they're gonna do. I forget it's all like publicly confirmed, like that they're gonna be doing multiple sets of Bandle City and whatnot. But once like that, the Bandle City, you know what in Magic would have used to have been called a block. Once the Bandle City block comes out, and that first block or set or whatever they do after that, that's where I'm really curious. Where are we going? What are we gonna see? Is it just going to be like a smattering of other things? Is there going to be a theme? Is it going to just be like champion expansions? Because like I think they could go a lot of different ways about it, but we have no idea.
Yeah, I think they can do a lot of crazy stuff, especially story wise, because they've talked about how it's like the Runeterra world is like non-canonical to League lore and stuff, right? So we can have like weird shit with different things, like a different timeline.
Oh,
can
but
happen in
Saucy
Runeterra.
KDA ruined my experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want a world where we just have like maybe I'm afraid of like saying anything because people are gonna fucking lose their mind. But let's have a world where like Katarina has died and like just crazy shit. Like we can do that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're already like, I mean, it is already established in the game that we have right now, and the cards that we have right now, that like timelines are not skewed, but like there are different timelines represented in the cards. It's not like we've taken a snapshot of the world of Runeterra and the cards that we have now are all in that like same group of years. It's like, no, we have like a very young Cythria all the way up to like ascended the rank Cythria, right? Like spanning however many years or decades or whatever. So we absolutely could see that. I mean, we also could see like a block or a set. I'm thinking like how Magic used to do it, like Odyssey block versus Onslaught block, for instance. And I know everyone's like, why are you talking about Magic cards that are 20 years old? Shut up.
Yeah, we can talk about whatever we
want. Fast forward approximately 13 minutes if you don't want to hear about Odyssey and Onslaught, because that's probably how long we'll be talking about. I have no idea. But like, okay, so Odyssey established a time on the plane, and there's a bunch of things in the story. I'm not super familiar with the canon of that story. Actually, Amazonian would know a lot better than I do. She's like a guru of Magic, of MTG lore, which is really cool. Maybe we'll have her on one time and just do like a completely off the wall like MTG lore episode.
I'm in.
We should message her now because we'll forget to. So they have that Odyssey block is like 3 different sets. Think like, you know, the 3 sets of Targon where like it's all like the 3 sets are like one sort of time period. It's not like the same. It's, you know, over the course of like, I don't know, 5 or 10 years or something.
Yeah.
And the cards are like the story is kind of progressing in that story. There actually used to be literal books associated with each set. Once that block was done, after that block was Onslaught block, which was actually taking a lot of the same characters and the same storyline. I think there were arcs that sort of came to natural conclusions, but it was expanding upon those in bigger ways. Like the card that comes to mind for me is Kamal, who is this like barbarian in the Odyssey block. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think maybe he died or something, and then he becomes like he is reborn as a druid. So he was like this like barbarian guy that lived in the mountains, and then becomes a druid in the next block. We could definitely see big swings like that, where it's like maybe the first block is like, you know, the first Noxian War or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there could be a bunch of stuff.
They could do a million different things. They could do new things. They could look back on old lore that they've already established. They could do anything. But I think that's really cool. They could even have
like, because, you know, we've had the small champion expansions, but they could do a full champion storyline where they like I mean, we all know at some point there's going to be a Cythria champion, like
there has to be
in the game. So there'll be like a Cythria expansion, and it'll just like talk about everything that she's done, and we'll get an animated cinematic, and we'll get t-shirts. I don't know. We'll get a bunch of shit. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, especially, I mean, thinking about how they've expanded upon labs too. I mean, like,
yeah,
they could really do anything with that, especially like now we kind of had like a very, very loosely put together pseudo story kind of for the first Lab of Legends. This next one is, I would maybe take a little bit off of that and say it's like a kind of loosely fleshed out pseudo story for this new Lab of Legends.
Yeah.
The story part is not really fleshed out, but the functionality certainly
there's like
expanded.
A vague bubble of a story.
Yeah, you are a Bilgewater champion and you are progressing to fight Tom Kench. And that's fine. They don't need, like, again, Lab of Legends is not supposed to be like, you know, the canon right now. They're testing out functionality for the game, so I don't mean to harp on that so much, but you think about it, once they get the functionality to a point, you could really implement something cool around champion releases or just story points and whatnot through Lab of Legends, and really expressing that story and giving players the ability to you know, experience that story in a way that's different than just a cinematic, or even different than playing you know, a role-playing game or something. It could be just something cool. So
yeah. And I mean, so we're coming off the tail end of the Ruination Ruin King event, and it was really cool. It was cool because it like went across all of the Riot games in the League world. So we had stuff going on in League of Legends, TFT, and Runeterrable with action and all that. Which it's really cool to see that, and they could really, you know, capitalize on that in future events and go between cross games. I'd like to see them, because this is something that I remember Blizzard used to do a lot when Heroes of the Storm was coming out. They would give, if you played like Hearthstone, you would get rewards in Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft. So I want to see a lot more cross-chart stuff like that. Like if they're, hey, you play 5 games of Wild Rift and you get a champion skin for Tom Kench or something. That would be super cool. In Runeterra, that'd be really cool. I want to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. That would be really cool. I think that's pretty low hanging fruit in terms of like, hey, we want to drive people to our other games as well.
Yeah. And although we say that, but then there's other game companies like Wizards of the Coast that purposely sabotage themselves in that own regard. So.
Oh yes. I mean, they are getting maybe a little bit better. I will say that the new D&D Magic set has gotten me to play D&D, which is cool. I mean, among other things, but which is cool. I don't think I even told you this, Hossie. I bought 2 commander decks.
Oh hell yeah, that's exciting. Let's play some commander.
Yes, I'm in.
I love it.
I actually we'll talk about it offline, because maybe we got some cool opportunities with stuff. I do want to finish, because this is very important to me, and this is Runeterra related, about the Sentinels event that just happened. Runeterra did tweet out that the Sentinels lost the battle. Oh,
so everyone's going to be getting ruined icons.
Nice.
So the Ruined, they said, congratulations to the Ruined on a hard-fought victory. All players are going to receive a Ruin icon in the near future to commemorate their efforts during the Sentinels of Light event. Thanks for participating. Eat shit, Sentinels of Light, is I think what they said, and then they had to delete the tweet.
Yeah, they had to delete the tweet, and they said sorry. They said sorry, then they retweeted, actually not sorry, get shit on.
Get shit on, you Sentinels of Light.
Gotta love the Runeterra social team. But yeah.
Speaking of Runeterra's social team.
Oh yeah, let's just jump right into it.
We can talk about this. You wanna start off this event that happened?
We've got some drama that happened, and
it's been so fun.
It's just been kind of weird. It's just been weird that this is blown up in any way, because like, it seems like a lot of people have been talking about it and it got some traction and whatnot. But so the original tweet is from a friend of the podcast, Skarzig. And he tweeted out a couple days ago, actually I think it was yesterday, playing Aurelia Azir does so much damage to your development as a player in the long run. There's no way some of these pilots are actually diamond. It's got to be the most blatantly misplayed deck I've ever seen. That somehow always has a chance of drawing outs to win. Question mark. That take that in for a second. The next level of the story is Mo, another friend of the podcast, quote tweets it and just posts the just copy pastas.
Yeah, copy pastas it hard.
Copy pastas it hard, just classic, just copy, literally just copy paste, retweet. We then get a response from Dovagetes, who replies to Mo's quote tweet that says this is quite a toxic take, claiming there is no way people are, quote, actually diamond despite them achieving the rank is gatekeeping mentality. It makes our community worse. Please do better. So I was actually talking.
Then it spiraled into an absolute shit show from there.
Yeah.
I feel like we could start a segment on this, like a monthly segment, the Dovagetes Hour, about shit show spiraling that has happened from people quoting at Dovagetes and things that they say.
Yeah, and then there was like a whole there was a whole thing where like people were responding to each other, and like some people, like, it was just very weird overall. And like, so I kind of want to take this in a couple of bites because I think there's a lot of layers to peel back.
First, let's start with this, because the original statement of playing as Aurelia does so much for damage or development as a player. We have actual concrete proof of that in the form of Blevins.
True.
Who is known for playing as Aurelia and has degraded as a player ever since then. So that's just a fact.
For what it's worth, when I've been playing as Aurelia, I haven't been a diamond player. I've been a masters player. Get shit on everyone else. Okay, so let's start with the original statement. There's so much to think, but when I break it down, I think of it I think of it in the same way that I think of how people used to take, and probably still do, think about Hunter from
like Face Hunter
Face Hunter in Hearthstone. And and before anyone goes out and maybe you can make a case that Aurelia is slightly different, but I think my point still stands. People in general just underestimate the actual like skill and lines that it takes to play these aggro decks, especially in Runeterra. Actually, again, Aurelia is probably a little bit of an exception, but regardless, like, the people who would say, "Oh, Face Hunter is no skill garbage," anytime I'd see them play it, they would be playing it awfully, right? Like, they'd be like, "Oh, my opponent just high rolled." It's like, well, you are playing out your hand every turn, and you're not using your hero power, and you wonder why you run out of damage. And you're like, "Oh, I just low rolled the deck." It's like, no, you low rolled playing the deck.
Yes.
So I think in general, that's people, the community perception of aggro is, I think, off in general, and I think this is somewhat the case. The whole like, there's no way these pilots are actually diamond. I mean, I just don't know where. Like, this gets into like a ontological argument of like, what does it actually mean to be diamond? Is it just the display of your rank in the game, or is it a mindset? Is it your hidden ELO? It's like, I don't know. What does it matter? Is my question. So and then the last part is like, it's the most blatantly misplayed deck that still has a chance of drawing outs to win. I mean, that's probably true. Like, there's a pretty big delta between optimal play and minimum amount of play that can still get you a win. There's a pretty big gap between those two things with a deck that's that powerful.
That's the thing. It's like the last sentence you said with a deck that powerful, because that's how
Yeah.
it works in every card games. Once that's how you can really determine it between a deck that's like a tier 2 and a tier 1 deck is the amount that you can fuck up playing it and still get wins is what determines how broken the deck is, right?
Yes, and that's one of the ways for sure. But I also would say like I think that at least determines the community perception of it is what I would 100% say.
What determines tweets like this?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But like, so my thing is like, I watch and like there are plenty of players out there who do this, but the one that always comes to my mind from actually having cast and watching the player play and like looking and being like watching them play and being like, holy shit, this is like another level of like unlocking a deck is Rattling Bones, who I've seen played like TLC back in the day, or even War Mother Control before TLC, or even War Mother Control when TLC and Feel the Rush were like the the main decks. He was still on the War Mothers, and I'm watching him play the deck, and I'm like, that's such a weird line. And then like 5 turns later, I see why he made that line, and it pays off, and it's just like, holy shit, like he's actually cracked. Like, and if you look at, I mean, there's other players too that are like this, but like I bet if you look at their win rate and like if Riot based their balancing off of the win rate of Rattling Bones, he'd probably get a lot of decks banned, or like you know, or like the top 0.1% of players, they probably get a lot of decks banned. But no one is talking about how, okay, people were talking about TLC, but that's a different, but no one's ever talking about how War Mother's Control was busted, but where Rattling Bones probably had like an 80% win rate with the deck because he was just cracked with it. Now that deck wasn't super easy to play. The skill floor of that deck was very high, but so was the skill ceiling. The community has an issue when the skill floor is low and the skill ceiling might be low, but the power level of the deck is high.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't know. I've been talking too much about this, Saucy. What do you think in general?
It's a whole thing, and I think the next layer, as we said, this is a multi-layered thing that happened was it. I think one of the biggest reasons that this became a thing in the first place was because it was someone talking bad about Irelia, and the whole meme of we love the play patterns of Irelia, 52% win rate and all of that, and it's like someone tweets something bad about Irelia, and then to her rescue comes Dova Getty's like, hold on a minute, no one talks shit about Azir Irelia, and just like takes it out of proportion. So it's just really funny that it was just specifically about Azarelia.
Yeah, I just like basically the TLDR of the whole situation is I look at almost what's that?
It just kept going forever.
Well, yeah, it kept going. The TLDR for me is that I look at almost every tweet that was made or responded with.
Yeah.
And I just go, why was this tweet sent?
Yeah.
Like, I will say though, the one that I think is probably fine or the most fine is Mo's of all people, which really shows something. If Mo's very clearly parody copy pasta, I'm always fine with that. Is it toxic? Again, this goes into like ontology of what does toxic actually mean. Is it contributing a good thing? I would argue that maybe it is. I think it would be contributing a bad thing to someone who sees this and doesn't understand that it's comedy. And
exactly, I think that's the big part.
That's a bigger conversation about social media and like the written word as a medium and messaging and stuff, like, which I just don't want to get into.
No, and that's exactly it. Because like anyone who knows Mo knows, Mo's sense
or
of
knows
humor
Twitter,
and
or sees that it's literally a copy paste. And like, yes, there's a certain level of like, well, if this is someone's first time on Twitter and they see this and they don't understand what a quote tweet is, and like, okay, maybe they see this and they think that something's
like, wow,
toxic.
this guy's talking shit to Skarzig. Like, what's going on?
I just like, at what level? Yeah, I just don't feel like getting into like a
philosophical debate
and the like ethics of social media and written word. Like I just don't feel like doing that or caring about it. I think if you look at it at face value, Skarzig, my take on this, and this is without having asked anyone about it. My take, just having read it, Skarzig probably just blown off some steam. Choice of words, maybe not the best. It is. I think you could maybe argue that it's a little bit toxic. I don't know. I think that there's definitely some truth to that. But you'd have to really expand and explore that and look deeper into it to get to the bottom of it, which is not what Twitter is for, by the way.
Yeah, at all. And it's funny because I do this all the time when I'm streaming. I'll lose to some deck and be like, oh, I hate Runeterra. This game sucks. Stuff like that. And we see it from every pro player of every game. Like you'll go on a losing streak in league or whatever. You tank 500 LP. You go on and say, fucking Yasuo, blah, blah, blah. It happens. And Twitter, it's because Twitter is so easy to just put out that short little rant post that it's just there and you can't edit tweets. So you're just screwed.
To be completely honest, the sad reality is that this is part of the reason why I really don't tweet that often, unless it's about very benign things. Again, I'm not going down the rabbit hole of the whole like ethics and whatnot of Twitter, but I think Skarzig probably had a bad beat or something and was venting on his platform, which is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. Could you argue that it's toxic? Probably. Could you argue that it's sort of a benign tweet? Also, probably. Mo did a very clearly tongue-in-cheek comedy copy pasta. I don't think that there's really too much argument against that. Very clearly, especially if you know Mo at all.
Yeah.
Very clearly comedy. And then Dovaghetti's, I think, didn't get the joke or didn't take it as a joke, and I guess drama ensued.
Yep. If you want to see the full stuff, you haven't seen it yet. I mean, you look at Skarzig or Mo on Twitter.
Yeah.
Emotional or at Skarzig, and
it's
it's a thing that happened.
Yeah. Speaking of things that will happen, Saucy, you're playing in another Riot Grand Prix this weekend.
Yeah. There's another Riot Grand Prix on Sunday. I totally didn't know it was coming up. For whatever reason, I thought it was another league weekend. And so I got a message last night like, hey, are you playing in this on Sunday? I'm like, oh, shit, I guess I should. So today I was trying to put together some my decks to bring my lineup. I don't fucking know what I want to play at all, Blevins. I'm lost right now.
Do you want my lineup suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, one deck, of course, is the combo deck. By the way, that reminds me, we do need to go on one more rant.
Oh, we're going to.
Okay,
we're gonna go. On
we'll go on the DMCA rant in just a sec. So action combo deck, obviously. I think that's pretty obvious that you should be playing that deck, because why not have the rounds take 85 minutes?
Yes.
Second deck, which is probably my favorite one right now, is the Fizz Draven Emu Civs, not Emu Civs, Emu Civs 3.0 deck, which I don't know if you've seen this deck or not. I think it was oh god, I saw it on Squeeby's stream. I'm trying to remember who actually posted this. Someone in chat might remember who made this deck, but it's basically OTK. It's got like the 4 mana, give something +5/+0. It's got basically every pump. It runs a bunch of Bilgewater elusives, and then uses the Minotaur, the new 4 mana Minotaur that allows a unit to get a. What's that?
The Midnight Raid one.
What is a Midnight Raid?
Is that what you're talking about? The Ruined Reckoner?
Ruined Reckoner, yeah.
Yeah, it makes the Midnight Raid is the spell.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know what Midnight Raid is.
Yeah, that's the spell that it makes that gives the free
yes, that. And so you like get a Fizz up to like 10 attack, and then you attack with it twice. It's Emusives 3.0.
Maybe I could just bring 3 Midnight Raid decks because I was thinking of I built a Teemo Midnight Raid Katarina deck with battering rams.
Ooh. Yeah,
It's
that's
the
close
old
to what.
Kattering Ram thing.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's close to what Casa brought to the caster tournament actually.
That sounds fun.
So that deck is sweet, and I think it's actually like kind of. I mean, it has some atrocious matchups.
Yeah.
But it's fun and it's memey. And I definitely. Oh, actually, no, I didn't have a third deck. I only had two. I only had those 2 decks because when I was originally making this lineup, I was thinking about playing in Fight Night. If I were playing in Fight Night, that's what I would have brought, which is only 2 decks. So, I mean, you can bring like I don't know, Spooky Karma or something else.
Yeah, I was thinking it. So I'm stuck. So I'm thinking of bringing the Action Talia Howling Abyss deck because that deck is hilarious. I'm just wanting to get that in as many times as I can. What was the Kiss by a Rose? We had a Kiss by a Rose?
Oh thing, yeah. If you're playing like Ezreal Draven and you play Thorn of the Rose, then
yeah.
Thorn of the Rose. So dumb.
It is stupid, but it's really funny, and I love it. Yeah, I don't know what I want to bring. I've got to bring something with Teemo because that's my brand. So I'm between either Teemo Katarina or maybe Teemo Viego Sump Workers because that deck is super fun.
That deck is hilarious because you can use the Viego spell to throw Teemo at them.
Yep. It's so good. I might bring Immortal Zap. I think that deck might make it in. It's so much fun. I've been playing it so much.
Okay.
We'll see. And then the third deck I'll bring is probably DMCA Takedown Notice. That's
yeah. So we wanted to bring this up because I see all the time, and Saucy, I know you deal with this daily.
Yeah, like every day.
Literally every day. People go into your chat and they go, Saucy, why don't you play music anymore? And you go, because DMCA takedowns. And inevitably everyone's like, oh, well, they don't, they're not going to find you. That won't happen to you. They're not going to find you. They only get like gigantic channels and they only do it if you play it all the time. Well, let me tell you something, folks and listeners. Our humble little YouTube channel with like, I don't know, 120 subscribers or something. We played 5 seconds of we played that, literally, that clip right there, that 5 seconds, and we got a strike on our last YouTube video.
We got a DMCA
on our video from that clip, and we're gonna get another one for this one too. I can't fucking wait. I don't care. That's why we're doing this on my channel today. But this is just I guess a PSA and also a like if you're wondering why streamers are not playing music on their streams, it's because of fucking that. They will find you. It's not like there's a guy whose job it is to go and watch streams and be like, oh, folks, we found another one, and then smashes a big red button and the alarm goes off and they send out an email. It's just an automation. It's literally just an automation that can, I don't know how it works, but it can tell when music is being played, and it scrapes YouTube videos and it sends automatic notices.
Yep.
So you literally cannot avoid it. At least unless, you can't avoid it is the long and short of it. Can't be avoided. So stop asking.
Quit coming to my channel and asking me to play your stupid bullshit music.
Yeah, if you're gonna ask for good music, you have to have a card that's associated with it. Like if you're playing Emperor's Deus, you need to have like a Amadeus. Oh, Amadeus. If you're gonna ask for a song, you gotta at least say I'm Amadeus. Get it? Because Emperor's Deus, Amadeus.
Emperor's Deus. Do you use it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Because Deus.
Chat. If you DM me on Discord, I'll explain the joke to you. Don't worry. Yes, this is across YouTube and Twitch. It's everywhere. It's literally just an automated bot scrape that will get you.
If you're live streaming and you play music, you will get your account banned. It will happen.
It does not matter the size, the shape, anything. But so I just wanted to do that little PSA. I think that's pretty much all we've got to talk about. Again, we're in a weird void right now where there's like stuff to speculate on, and we literally can't speculate. So
we should. So if you're listening to this live, or if you're listening to this recorded on Wednesday when it comes out or later, we should have Bandle City spoiler or Battle Panda City starting.
Yeah,
but they have
spoiler season is going to be starting. Yeah, usually we'd get at least something today. Well, we did get something. We just didn't get a spoiler.
Yeah, they were just wanting to wait until the Ruined King event was over.
Yeah. So next episode we'll likely have, well, depending on how much we have. Sometimes I kind of like doing all of it in once, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a guest on and do half, and then we'll get. Actually, maybe we should reach out to our boy Swim and do another big boy reveal one. We'll see. But yeah, that's all we got for today. Saucy, where can people find you on the internet when you're not here?
You can my website, battlepandacity.com, if you want to go to my website.
I forgot.
Yep. Literally bought that domain. So battlepandacity.com. You can go to my website, see all my stuff there. I stream basically every day. And come hang out with me at battlepandacity.com.
Yes. So good. You can find me on the internet on Twitter at _Blevins. Though, as I mentioned earlier, I don't really tweet as much anymore. I'm finding. I'm a viewer of Twitter these days more so than a contributor to the space of Twitter. But you can find me there. You can find the show at Runeterrable on Twitter. The best place to find myself, Saucy, and all of the stuff on the show, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. That is the place to go and to be. I mean, not just for Runeterra stuff, but I know Saucy, you've been playing little SBB action.
So much storybook brawl. It's like eating up a void of my time.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot too. Our producer is actually like a top 100 player.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna reveal it now. Their name is, and you should definitely. They will be. They'll. We're breaking the fourth wall at some point. They will be revealed. But yes, they are a top player. If you're a online investigator, I think you might be able to use the clues that have been put out and figure out who it is. But either way, that's going to be it for today's episode. Thank you everyone for listening and for watching. I know this was a wacky one. If you like this episode, just type a 1 wherever you are. Just type a 1 and we'll know.
This.
It's got to be either at the very beginning or at the very end so that we know only the diehards are going to hear this.
Yeah.
Type a 1. If you like this. And also, if you're listening to this live, and I realize people are typing 1 right now in chat, type a 1 on the YouTube channel as well. Type 1 there. But that's going to be it for Saucy. I am the Blevins, and we'll be back later to talk about some Bandle City and Battle Panda City, and also Legends of Runeterra.